Okay.
We'll be talking about mistakes that real estate investors should avoid.
Okay.
Mistakes that real estate investors should avoid. And, to be a real estate investor, I mean, we've discussed severally about how you can do that because a lot of times people think that you need to have a lot of money to be able to be a real estate investor. It's not necessarily so. I hope you've been following our YouTube channel, okay, and catching up on this. Whether you have a lot or you have just a little amount, there are ways you can invest in real estate. Yes, there are ways you can do that. So, number one, I want to share with you, saying that you are a real estate investor, what are the mistakes you should avoid? Number one mistake you should avoid is overpaying for whatever it is that you are buying as an investment. Yes. Whatever it is that you are buying as an investment in real estate, they will tell you, okay, that the number one way you make money from your investment in real estate is when you buy rights. Okay? That is where it starts from. When you buy at the lowest possible price, let's put it that way, not at the highest price. When you buy, there is what we call market price or market value in real estate. That is the going rate of a property that it will ordinarily sell without any coercion or any durex in the system. Do you understand? So that is the price that a property would ordinarily exchange. A willing buyer and a willing seller, no other conditions that are stiffening or forcing the hand of any of the parties to take a decision. Great. So that is the market value. That's the price that the property will sell. For you to make money as an investor, you want to buy below that market value. Yes, that would be the best thing. So they call such a value first sale value. Okay, first. That is, so there's some pressure, Then, or some people will tell you distress sale. So maybe the buyer is distressed, or the property itself,
you want dispose
or the property itself is distressed. Distressed in the sense that it needs money for one thing or the other urgently, and that property seems to be the way by which that money can be raised. As an investor, that really wants to make money, those are the kind of properties you are looking for. And once you have cash, you actually can get those opportunities because cash is king. Yes, you actually can get those opportunities. So you want to review and look at the possibilities of that. Okay, very, very important. Don't buy at overpriced value. So don't buy something at a price that is way above market value. What will you be doing that for? What will you be doing that for? But it will shock you that a lot of investors buy at above the market value for so many reasons. So something is prevalent right now. The kind of commission that is being demanded from people selling, especially developers who develop largest expanse of land, is huge. So a lot of times to meet up with those conditions, what they do is to increase their price. Okay, so meaning that really their property may not be as at the market value in the neighborhood. Theirs may be a little higher. You understand? Because they want to meet the commission demands of their agents. Let's put it that way. When you buy at such prices, you would have to wait for what we call market correction to happen. That takes place by way of time. You understand? So as an investor, when you buy such properties, you're already buying above market value. You see? So you see how a lot of people do this without even knowing. Okay? So that's number one. I think it's very important. Yes.
Before we go to number two, there is a kind of buying I want you to help us on. Okay. Distress too, but the calculation of risk involved now.
Okay.
Say maybe person wants sell house now.
Yeah.
The person you own up to you come out say this house where I want sell why I want sell them, they say make I no lie. Maybe they sink. You understand? The person come out, show him card, say it is sink. If the worth of the house supposed to be 40 million, but because the person knows that as it is sink, I don't get money to do maybe German floor, so I will be selling for you for 30M.
Okay.
This is or even 20M. For a buyer or an investor who will consider this as a pedestrian investor, I want to consider this a good buy.
Oyinbo.
I want to consider this a good buy.
Okay.
But to use as a professional, is it really a good buy? Can I see that as a kind of wise buy? Abi make I no try am.
Now, waiting go make you decide whether it's a wise buy or not. When you analyze the situation. So, for example, I tell people what you've said is a distressed property. The property itself is distressed. So, when I train people, I tell them that as an investor, if you have the option of buying a distressed property or buying from a distressed seller, buy from a distressed seller rather than buying a distressed property. What do I mean? The seller may be the one that is in distress, needs money for something, but the property is selling has no issue, has no integrity or whatever construction issue tied to anything, no issue. But it would give huge discounts because it needs money fast, and we know that real estate is highly illiquid. You understand? So it will give money fast. That's a distressed seller. But you see, a distressed property is the example you gave. The property itself has some challenge.
Okay.
You understand? It's defective in one way or the other. It's sinking. Without even telling you, you may see it yourself that, what's happening? Why is this property looking like it's tilting in one direction or the other? So, the analysis you would make in that instance can this be corrected? This thing that is happening, whether it's I'm not limiting it to the example you gave, but whatever is wrong with the property, can it be corrected? At what costs will it be corrected? If I add up all of those costs plus the price that they are now asking me to pay, is it within a normal property's market value in that area?
Okay.
If it is within it or lower than it, yeah, you may be. But you see, you have to involve technical hands in deciding, not even just calculation, in deciding whether this is a redeemable situation or not. Because if you think that we can rework it so that it will not sink further, no, you just think that maybe we'll add some pillars, and some people tell you we'll just increase some pillars, add some pillars here and there. It may not work out. And if that is the basis on which you now bought that property, you know that you've definitely, taking a wrong decision, because by the time you do those things, the property will still not be saved, and
money don't invest.
You don't already part with your money. So you need to involve professionals to help you analyze the property, the situation, and tell you if it is redeemable, what are the remedies, and if it is not redeemable, it means that what you are buying is just land. So can you negotiate for the land, because you are even going to incur the cost of demolition. If you don't know how to go about it.
That's very professional. And another thing where we know they consider with that, say at times, say building there on top land, you know me saying a house. If it is an ordinary land, now you can buy. Okay, let's go on this quick break so that when we come back, we open the phone lines, open our WhatsApp messages, everything, so that everybody will just feel free. Call in, Skype at us, and we can do the show together. We will be right back. Please go nowhere.
Hey, subscribe! That you've watched up to this point means that you've been enjoying this episode. Encourage us to continue to put out valuable content like this by pressing the subscribe button. Just subscribe. It is absolutely free. A lot of people tell me, your channel is loaded, valuable content there and all of that. Encourage us by subscribing. It will help us do more. Subscribe right away.
Another thing you should try to avoid as an investor is trying to do everything yourself. A lot of investors think that because they are putting down the money, they should be able to analyze investments, check things by themselves. No. You should learn to realize that investment requires the co-participation of other experts in you making a decision, an informed decision. They need to supply you with certain information that you don't have the expertise to gather. So you must encourage and actually get on board professionals that can help you. For example, if you want to buy a piece of property, how do you determine the market price? Number one. How do you determine that the title of that property is correct? You understand? Number two. How do you determine that the property is not having any deficiency structurally? You know, you may have to involve structural engineers, a lawyer, an estate surveyor and valuer in all of these things that I've said. But if you just think that I've been investing for a while, they give you title, you look at it, or you go to lands yourself. Yeah, you may be able to do that, especially if you've had experience over time on that, and then you apply formally and they give you the report, But you would have to do your documentation with a lawyer to pass title from the buyer to you, to yourself, to guide you as to the value. You may have to talk to your agent or your estate surveyor and valuer, you understand, to be able to decide, okay, what should we offer for this? What's the best to offer for this and that? Then, what would this be used for? All of those things. I mean, how will I use this? What will I make from it? How will I make the best money from it? What is the going rate of rent in this area? All of those things, to be able to decide whether it's going to be a good buy for you or not. Okay,
sir,
so it's important.
On the other hand too, sir, I think we should open this gate so that everybody can come in. We are looking at it from the angle of a buyer.
Yeah.
But while talking, waiting come to my own head, we say some people they watch us. We say them too if you want to sell their property, and they won't sell them because this person if you say I get 20 million naira problem, so make I sell my house 18 million. I go source the remaining 2 million, or make I sell my house 22 million. And this is always very common to people who are distressed. So, sir, on the other hand, sir, is it also advisable before I sell my property, make I call people where they value, say, not minding my problem, sir?
That is the best thing to do. To get a valuation of what you want to sell. Even if it's an estimation they will give you, that the professional, maybe they just do a rough estimate. Yeah, it's not.
Because we always sell based on.
Otherwise,
if you see people who want to let go of their car, for instance, oh, I'm using this particular brand of car, and possibly I need this certain amount of money. We always peg that amount of money we need on the car. Not minding maybe this car says we don't even.
Yeah, and most times you put that on the car, on the house, and for a long time the property will be there, the asset will be there, not sold. They'll be pricing it around the value price. You'll be saying no, and later what usually happens is by the time the need for your money really hits you bad, you settle for something even less.
Yes,
whatever comes at that time.
Very correct.
So the best thing to do is get the valuation. Yes, have an idea of the estimation of value of what you are trying to sell, so that you are guided. Your property cannot be valued at the rate of your problem. No, that's not how.
I like that.
That's not how properties are valued. They are not valued based on your situation or circumstance or your particular need. No, they are valued based on the open market principle.
When you say valuer, does any good agent pass as a valuer, or people they will be saying that their own profession can
No, so in Nigeria, I think we've done an episode where we talked about the professionals that are in the real estate space. So I would encourage you catch up on some of our very early episodes about 2 years ago or so on this channel. But just to answer your question, there are people who studied estate management in school, and who are then admitted into Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers. They become registered. They go through some professional exams and become registered in that body. And they are the valuers. They are called estate surveyors and valuers. They are the ones entitled or mandated by law, empowered by law to do valuation or to speak regarding valuation in this country, especially when it comes to real estate properties. They have a seal that they use. I mean, every registered member of that association has a seal that they got as a result of having passed through those exams.
Okay. So, We are on nugget 3. First one is overpaying.
Yes.
Real estate investors should avoid
Yes.
overpaying.
Then don't do everything yourself.
Trying to do everything yourself
is a major problem that people go
Awala.
through. Then also, a lot of times people underestimate or overestimate the expenses required on an asset that they've invested in. Let's say that I've bought a piece of property now, or even in buying the piece of property, in deciding whether I want to buy or not. I miss out on some estimation of what I need to do to bring that property to a level that will now be useful. Either I want to put it out for rent or I want to resell it. If I should do that, if I should underestimate, you understand, it means that I will be taking a decision and hoping that I will make a lot of money. But by the time I get into the transaction, I would have to, the cost that I did not consider will start coming up. And that may erode my estimated profit. Either totally or just leave me with something marginal that I wouldn't have invested my money if I knew ab initio. Yes. That is the, so people underestimate in that regard. So their expenses, they forget some things, they leave out some things. You want to avoid that. You want to be thorough. You want to pen down what are the things, that you, it's very important that you pay attention to all these short-term costs.
Should that be an advice on the side of the seller? Sorry, on the side of the seller, yes.
No, the investor who is buying.
Okay.
Because before he makes that investment decision, he would have done some calculation. The calculation would include estimation of expense over and above the price he's paying for the property, to be able to now decide on the going rates, you understand, or what he will pay as. So that's what I mean by you need to be very, very thorough about that. Then some, they don't, it's not as if they underestimate their expenses, they overestimate it. And when you overestimate your expense, what it can lead to is that you will probably take a decision not to buy that property, not to do that investment. If you had just been fair enough in your estimation, you will have seen that you can make good returns on your investment, investing in that property. But because you've overestimated all your expenses, your planned expenses that would never happen would have eaten into your envisaged or estimated profit, such that you then think that what you stand to gain is not so much, and so you don't probably invest in that asset. You don't make that investment decision. Meanwhile, if you are just estimated appropriately, you might have been able to see that the margin is good enough for you based on how you invest. So there is a dilemma in underestimating your expense and also overestimating your expense. What you want to do is to estimate your expense as near to actual as possible. As near to actual, and that comes by getting market information, visiting the site and noting things down, and getting market information as to going rates, contacting possible vendors or that would
because in this case, all the money I spend or the money I propose to spend on valuers, on legal documentations and everything, it will still be, I will add it as part of.
Of course, you will add it. You had it. It's all part of it.
So it's what will still determine what if I pen 3 million naira down for a lawyer, estate value and everything, I must add that 3 million to the property you are selling to me.
So it's common practice.
Would you call that underestimated or overestimated? Am I over?
No. It's common practice that when you buy a piece of property, you buy it and you need the services of some professionals. Your agent, estate surveyor and valuer, for example, and your lawyer. They are paid based on agreed commission. Mm-hmm. You understand? Whatever the value of the property, you negotiate their commission and you pay them the commission. All of that is part of your cost. When you are also going to sell, do you understand? Is all of that is part of your cost. It's standard, but you can negotiate rates with these professionals. That's the only other thing to lower your cost. Yeah, but they are basic standard payment.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. You've been able to take us through another one, that is don't overestimate or underestimate estimate, because at the end
Your
of the
expenses.
day, your expenses, at the end of the day, it might even determine maybe you no go wan buy the material, the property again.
Yes or not.
Or not, yes. Okay.
I think we may have to continue this because I still have like about 3 more, so I'm not sure we have the time.
Underestimate and overestimate. Okay, we still have 1, 2, 3 minutes. If you have questions, please feel free, call in, ask Engineer Debo on top mistakes we real estate investors make they suppose avoid, or from our own production person here, our floor manager don dey give me sign say we no get time again. But yes, next week here and another time we will go together do the show. Feel free, always call in, and in the here to answer every question till we come your way again Tuesday next week. We dey say bye bye.
Bye, see you next week.
How did you enjoy the video? Great, right? Valuable content are here, no doubt about that. So please do us a favor, encourage us by subscribing right away. Click on the subscription button now, and I want you to do 3 other things for me. Subscribe, like, click on the notification button, and lastly, share. If you enjoy real estate sales, real estate entrepreneurship, financial freedom, how to own your first or next house, okay? Those 4 things are what I concentrate on this channel. Thank you very much. I remain yours sincerely, Debo, in business of helping you do what? Sack your landlord. Subscribe.